You look at the book and you look at the Lenovo of the world. I mean, Lenovo's literally the only name I can come up with. Let's start with, why is that? Why are they struggling to make brands?
Well, they haven't started that long ago, so give them a little bit of time. There are some other brands that a number of Americans know and at least have in their homes. Haier is one of those examples. It started with students. Now a lot of other people have it too. Huawei is making inroads in the market with handsets, but currently it's not that much. It's going to be a lot.
Well, page 152, Qichao Mutai Company. Their slogan, Scarlett, is Qichao Mutai, legendary spirit of China.
Yeah.
They're in the liquor business.
Yeah, you don't want to be drinking that. That's harsh stuff.
Isn't branding,
Absolutely.
isn't branding just throwing a wall of money at a product?
Well, that's not what most American companies would think. I mean, we have in our homes Tide and we drive a branded car. So no, it's not a waste of money, but these companies, these emerging market companies, they still have a way to go.
One company I thought was really intriguing that you mentioned is the Chinese baby products maker Fu Hong, because it used to be an OEM for companies like Gerber, and then it started to produce things under its own brand. But most people still haven't heard of it.
No, that is true. So the thing is, our book is also about the new wave that is going to be there in the next 10 years. It is currently not there, but let's not kid ourselves. One of the biggest mistakes Western companies can make is to deride or ignore these emerging market companies with their brands. Does it sound familiar? In the 70s, the Japanese came, you know, with
the Toyotas, the Hondas of the world.
I mean, I asked my father, you know, Dad, why is this guy driving a Japanese car in the 70s? He said, I don't know, son. Probably he's very poor. That's not the case anymore. The Japanese, the Koreans, and now look at where GM, Ford are, or RCA, or in Europe, Thomson, Philips Electronics, Renault, Peugeot.
But isn't there still a distinction between quality versus quantity? So the mass manufacturing in emerging markets versus really trying to refine, say, one or two products. How do they sort of get to that point?
Well, they start, the basic route to do that is what I call the Asian tortoise route. Essentially, you enter the market at the bottom, like the Japanese did, with a product of, let's say, decent quality, at best for a very low price. And then you gradually up the game. That's what Hyundai is doing. I mean, 10 years ago, Hyundai wasn't very good.
But will they do it? But will the Chinese companies do it?
Yes, they are doing it. I've seen that. Pearl River Piano is a good example. A lot of Americans have a piano in their household. It is made in China, the #1 piano manufacturer in the world. And they've now launched the premium brand Kaiserburg. It sounds very German. It is made in Guangdong province in China. I've seen it.
Let's bring in Matt Dowd, our Bloomberg TV political consultant. A few weeks ago in India, bad children's food, lots of ugly chemicals in children's food. I would say that destroys trust instantly and keeps American brands strong. How do we develop this relationship with the emerging markets out of Washington to build up brand quality, to build up trust? Trust seems to be what's missing here.
Well, trust existed for Japanese products before the 70s and before the 80s. There was a huge amount of trust. Obviously, we were involved in a world war with Japan and all that, and people had huge things. But that didn't stop them ultimately from buying Toyota and other products from Japan, because they decided in their mind they were the good quality at good cost. That's what the brand told them. I think over time, the brand is actually, I totally agree, the brand is actually one of the most important things that you can do in any sort of economic market or any sort of corporate market.
Emirates is a really good example, because Emirates, the brand, is so well known that it's really lifted the city-state of Dubai overall, increased tourism, and made it really a logistics center.
And wouldn't you prefer to fly Emirates compared to certain better unnamed American airlines? I definitely do.
Well, and again, it has to do with the branding again. I mean, how do you build up branding? It's just about spending money, isn't it?
No, it is not. A strong brand starts, as you say, it starts with a good product. And that is not always the case. So there is, but the product quality of Chinese and other emerging market products is getting ever better. And
agreed.
Because of some of the scandals that you're talking about, very importantly, these other Chinese companies, they understand that they need to develop their own brands to separate themselves from these fly-by-night guys.
China has political considerations, though, and the Chinese companies have money political considerations as they begin to do the branding more and more, especially here in this country. They have a lot of political considerations.
Right.